Welcome to the Golden Feather. Grab a pint, a plate, and pick your seats. Your hosts, Vertek and Chibi Bree, are back from their latest adventure.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Golden Feather. And today's episode is 140 on this 23rd day of September 2022. Yeah, 140 episodes. Going strong.
Absolutely.
Today, we have our guests, us.
I was like waiting. I was like, where?
Yeah, we have our guest, us. Not to delay introducing us, this is the lovely and talented Chibi. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Have you told them what the name of our episode is today?
Camouflage before the strike.
Because next week we get to learn about the Archer stuff, and we're super excited about that. And there's a lot of community discussion around it, and a few other things that we haven't been able to hit recently. So, but I did want to say, welcome in with the raid from Paradox Gaming Network. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate you dropping your community off with us. I know we're a whole other vibe, so
indeed,
still excited,
especially if it ends with a rant.
Oh my gosh, yes. Jolan rants are the best.
They are.
Sometimes I can't help but like do the popcorn emoji sometimes with them. Just like watching them go off.
I just like leaving it on in the background, just listening to what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. A couple of things is we are what? We aren't going to talk about socialized healthcare? No. A couple of things
that's
are
the final topic of the day. Okay.
Okay, my bad. I haven't gotten down to that part yet, you know. More cultural shock, right? We have begun doing our post podcast Tavern talks on Fridays. Hello, Ravon. Welcome in. And this coming Monday, we'll be having our second D&D, fingers crossed, our second D&D campaign that we'll be running on here. And there's some cool news happening with that too. And then aside from that, I think we have other things in the works that we can't quite chat about yet, but it's getting closer. Getting very much closer. We do need to talk about healthcare and ashes, yes. Unfortunately, because there's not a healthcare system within the Ashes of Creation game, they take 10% of your XP. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Depending on the mayor, they can scale that. 10% is the starting point. Okay. If you want that really good healthcare, you're gonna have to go up to about 40% of your experience. Yeah. And then you get even better coverage if you donate 10% extra to the mayor personally. Yeah, absolutely. Like a percentage of your XP goes to the mayor to help them, stay on top. Actually, you know what's funny? Remind me to say how it ties in, but
okay.
Richie SH actually did a video involving death penalties for ashes. Okay. We'll talk about that later. But my idea to help out with something like that actually does involve a little bit of a few other systems, and how it can kind of push people into playing with all the different systems in Ashes at the same time as, having kind of a socialized healthcare system after explaining the tie-in that I was thinking.
Ooh, okay. I see that. 10 gold for a res. I mean, hey, as long as it's not flagging me, or I mean, if it's flagging me, I'm going to double the price to 20 because now I have to defend myself. So.
True.
So we're going to be kind of jumping around a bunch of random topics today. We don't have anything quite planned out like we normally do when we have a guest, because we just kind of feel like hanging out with you guys and chatting. Charge more than that in EverQuest, gotta start like low, right? And then if people are hiking their prices up too much, I might be the one that they go to because my prices are like a little easier, especially for the noobs.
Just saying, the game's just starting. You start off light, get them addicted to it, then they go and, increase your pricing, and then they just have to agree. They just have to agree at that point.
Oh, yeah. Oh, did you want to chat about the HelloFresh stuff before we get into it?
Sure.
Alrighty,
what did we end up with on that?
Thanks to 4 people using our code, we ended up making a total of 500 out of it. So that is 500 that we will be able to use towards making our podcast way better than we could have without that 500. So thank you guys so much for those of you that helped. And I'm actually going to be turning off.
Where it's going, I'm pretty sure.
Yes. Do you want to tell them?
We can wait. We can say that they'll see some of that stuff coming later, but they'll see why we want to spend it on that.
Okay, yeah, that works. And I'm actually turning off that HelloFresh timer alert thing because it's over.
Just about to start doing that right now. If you're already in there, though, I'll let you take care of it.
I already did it. It's already gone.
Cool.
But yeah. So, without further ado, let us get into the wonderful topics. Was it WoW or another game that had the engineer thing with the I think the electrode starter cables thing?
WildStar.
I thought that was WildStar. I was gonna guess
like
that.
Little jumper cables. That was amazing.
That's funny. Clear. So, where to begin? So many different topics that we could start on here. I role-played attaching it to people.
Well then.
You would. I could see that.
Not a stretch. Not a stretch at all.
Also, I apologize. I'm a little sniffly. I've been sick this week, so if you can tell I'm a little stuffy, I apologize. But yeah, let's see. So many things to talk about. Oh my gosh.
All the things. Uh-oh. What'd you bump into?
Oh no, I was just saying, oh my gosh, to the Sir Onsington's response. How about the spectator mode for 250v250 battles?
Yeah. So there was a post. This was something we wanted to talk about last week, but we got in so many crazy conversations with the guests that we never really got to it. But if there was, for some of the large scale battles, like the 250v250 and the sieges and such, do you think that would be a good thing? Would you enjoy it? And on the other side of it, do you think it would become a big problem because people would be paid as spies to do the spectator mode and keep somebody on the other team apprised of what's going on inside?
I don't know. I feel like that could definitely affect a lot of the gameplay, for sure. Part of it, though, would be like trying to you'd have to have really good communication for that in the first place, because you'd have to be able to explain with good detail enough to be useful where exactly something is occurring or potentially occurring. But that being said, I feel like that could also potentially, in some people's perspectives, lead to there you go. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's what I was getting to. That actually, that's a good. You read my mind. Be an unfair advantage, unless like what Seclusion said. I think it's Seclusion. I'm sorry. Let me know if I have it wrong.
Sausage.
Yeah, I don't know. But,
sauce is on. There we go.
The sauce is on.
Saucy's on. Okay. I was close.
Okay. If you delete it, like I could see that being something, because if there's a slight delay, then it's the French food. Sorry, no, don't be sorry. It's also like with the letters, and I'm like, I'm not sure.
Hey, if it's a French food, that means I need to figure it out because I have this relationship with food where I like it, all of it. So I need to know how to say its name correctly if I'm going to call it out.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, unless there's like a without the numbers, thank you. Sauces on. Yeah, okay, that makes saucy son. Saucy son. No, I'm just thinking of somebody who's being saucy, like saucy. But yeah, no. What are your thoughts? I'm making myself embarrassed, so go for it.
Turning yourself pink like your top. It's great. But I don't know. I think I when I first heard the idea, which was a while ago, people were talking about it. I always thought that'd be great. Yeah, why are you so saucy, son? But yeah, like I always thought it was a great idea, and it would be super interactive. People, I knew people back when SOTOR came out, where they were going to do a lot of their videos by doing live streaming of, or even making a video after the fact of SOTOR matches, and they were going to use the spectator mode to do it. But then somebody even pointed out, like, as soon as the idea came up that it could be used to spy on the other side, it was immediately like, oh yeah, that's right. That would be absolutely terrible unless they come up with some way to do it where you wouldn't be able to, or wouldn't want to.
I mean,
but I don't even know.
Ashes of Nair is saying that they're against it for sieges, and the TF was saying spectator for arena only.
Yeah, see, that I could definitely be down with. I could definitely
the other thing
is the arenas only.
What if there's a spectator? Well, I guess that's where like Discord would ruin that. Never mind. I was gonna say, what if it's spectator only, but like you can't really converse with either side? But then if you're in a Discord, that ruins that whole idea because you're going outside of the game. Excuse me for that. But I thought it would also be kind of cool, just even as like a streamer, being like, hey guys, there's this like big siege battle going down, and I want to like watch this and maybe do some play-by-play. I don't know. That would be kind of cool to see from that perspective. But again, yeah, if you're in a Discord call with either side, then you're potentially giving an advantage of some sort. Yeah, it's interesting. It's an interesting topic.
I honestly think it would be actually pretty nifty if you could have like a 5 or 10 minute delay on it. That way people could still see it kind of in the moment.
Yeah. And
still kind of do like a live stream play-by-play, but they wouldn't really know the outcome until after it was already actually decided.
Yeah.
Because honestly, if in a big old siege like that, a big old PvP match, if you can't start a strategy and execute it and be done executing, moving on to the next strat within like 5 minutes, you're probably not going to successfully get it done anyway.
Yeah.
So like a 5 minute delay wouldn't be terrible for something like that.
And Nair says, I know this goes against you as streamers, but I honestly would hate to have streamers stream the sieges I'm in. Unless they're on the opposing side, because then I can go and spy on their tactics.
I mean, that's a fair statement.
Then again, that dude or dudette next to you that think is your ally, they're in Discord too. Like, yeah, they could be in a spy too. Same for regular Twitch streamer playing Ashes.
Your neighbor is your ally.
Yeah, but like honestly, I don't think I would stream myself being in a siege, for that reason, without like a delay, right? Because again, being stream sniped in the middle of a siege is kind of that would suck. Because then you can just know exactly where I'm at just by looking at my screen and my position and what's around me.
Yeah, so I mean, that's definitely a point as well, is live streaming, because we're going to want to stream our sieges and stuff. So I think I think we might need to make another overlay that has like a little disclaimer at the bottom, like there is a 10-minute delay. We're in an active PvP situation or something.
Okay, but like that brings up my other topic, or my other point though, is in a game like Ashes of Creation, which is open world PvP, would it then not necessitate the reason for having a constant 5-minute delay? There you go. See, the Wolf of Gar knew where I was going through, well, like mentally, because like it's an open world PvP place, so like that means somebody will always be able to kind of know where you are, and potentially stream snipe you, just because, you know.
Yeah, but you know what else? You know what else though is that bounty hunters will pick up on that real quick too.
Yeah,
and they'll start watching streamers when they're bored and kind of hanging around the same area. And they'll just wait for somebody to go up and try and gank them. That's
a good point. Nair says, even with a few minutes delay, overall strategy of the siege could be revealed. Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, for me personally, wouldn't want to stream the siege. Also, maybe a lot of spectator watching from in-game client might stress the server during an already quite network-intensive event. That's a good point too, Asasi-san. Even with the delay, they will find out how you communicate and what your tactics are. Yeah. Ridri, how would not work in open world. Anyone could spy out the whole world.
Yeah, open world PvP, it wouldn't really matter.
Yeah,
it's
that's
just
fair.
I think the more instanced and blocked off from the rest of the world.
Yeah, but I mean that is. I'm wondering, because of, like, will the network be under more stress than it normally is with the amount of people playing on the server if one is spectating?
Well, it's probably not going to be one spectating. If they offer a spectator mode, there's probably going to be more people watching than fighting. I would almost bet money.
But, like, would that stress the servers more than if those people weren't watching but were somewhere else in the world? Kind of idea.
Yeah, it'd probably stress it more, but not nearly as much as an actual player in there, because it won't have to do calculations on where they're at and how it impacts the physics of the rest of everything going on in the field. But it's just going to need to have a view calculated out and sent
Every
back.
spectator is one more person the server needs to send data to, but yes, you're right, it's less than a player. Okay. In New World, a more disciplined groups would mute comms at a short delay and play music when the war battle began. Ah, okay. Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I've only really ever done like PvE content with like instance raids and stuff like that, so this is all new to me.
I was thinking if we were to try to stream it, it would end up being like a 10-minute delay, and voice chat to anything going on would end up being muted.
Oh yeah, absolutely, because like I'm able to hang out in like a Discord call and make sure stream only hears me and not Discord. But then I also have the ability to mute myself on stream and Discord hears me, and vice versa. So I mute myself so Discord can't hear me, but the stream can. So like, there's definitely ways around it, and somebody who knows how to set up their stream would be able to easily do that. Welcome into the tavern, Aiden Cash. Lip readers. Well, you know what? You can try to read my lips, but if I have like my face turned a different direction, or if I'm talking really fast, good luck.
Yeah, that would be. I mean, honestly, at that point, like, if they could read lips well enough. Yeah, there you go. Wear a face mask. We're used to it by now, right? Wear a face mask.
I just
for the entire
imagine
time.
like one of those like face masks that says "rar" on it or something.
I get a face mask that looks like my face. Get one of those smart ass masks and put that on. So it just looks like my mouth sitting there, just kind of.
My corp gives 10k in tuition assistance. Lip reading degree is what I'll choose now. Touché. That being said, with the 250v250, being a thing, what about the size in comparison to other games of the world map now that it's been increased?
Oh man, this is definitely a hot topic at the moment.
Yeah.
Everyone is still going on about map sizing And I mean, for good reason. I'm not saying it's silly that they are, but it's just changed the discussion at this point, because before it was, oh, the map's going to be so small, and now it's, well, the map might be really empty. If somebody did, and I apologize, I do not have the receipts, I apologize, but somebody was talking about comparing landmass to average, or not average, but maximum player population that could be logged in any certain time. So like the maximum concurrent players, and saying that like per square kilometer World of Warcraft at launch was something like, I'm gonna throw out a random number because I don't remember, but it was like 70 people per square kilometer or something like that. But then Ashes, because of how much bigger it is now, it has more people that are allowed to log on, but it still only hits like 65 or something like that. So it's actually less people per square kilometer.
To Nara's point, the landmass itself only increased by about 30% or so. I believe they increased the water mass by a lot for there to be a lot more waterway.
Which honestly, it's going to be kind of a neither here nor there when it comes to that.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's going to play a decent hand.
It will for the people that are doing naval content. It will not for the people that don't like the naval content. So for some people it'll be neither here nor there, because they're like, okay, cool, it's 30% bigger. But for the people that are very into the naval content and the open world trade via naval, yeah, I don't know what the word is for that, but going through the like ships to get to a different island within the cross water trade, that's going to be important to them. So it's gonna matter to some people that increased a lot more. It's going to matter to other people that it didn't increase as much of the land size. Nara says, my main worry about land mass size is that we'll see freeholds everywhere ruining the scenery. Potentially.
Well, I think that's where the big benefit of that map size increase is going to come in, to be honest.
Well, yeah, I wonder, because, I mean, potentially. It depends. I'm sure you're going to see X amount more, but I wonder if they have a limited amount of households or freeholds that can be on a specific node at a specific level, meaning that you're going to be forced to kind of go somewhere else to go. Hi, I just got here. What's the topic tonight? We are talking about a few different things, Tobias. We were talking about spectator mode, TV 250v250, and now we're talking about map size if it's sufficient in comparison to other worlds or other games.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll like seeing all those properties, right? I feel like it depends, but I mean, okay, I don't know how many servers there are going to be, but like, I don't think every server necessarily is going to be maxed out with all of the freeholds constantly, you know?
Yeah, and that was a statement I was going to make too, is for one, Steven did say it's going to be a lot of work and investment in time and money and resources. So it's going to be an actual, like, I got my freehold, yay, instead of like, oh, I got level 20, I have my freehold, yay. It's going to be an actual effort. So they might not be able to be placed everywhere. Cool. Or they might not be placed everywhere because people won't be getting them all the time. There's going to be some, especially probably the more casual people, might not even bother getting one.
Yeah.
But on top of that, they were already keeping in mind that 10,000 people would be able to put a freehold down with the last map size and and here's the important part, the last node count.
Yeah.
There's fewer nodes now, which means fewer big cities blocking placement of a freehold.
Not to mention T1 and T2 nodes won't be able to have freeholds, as Wolf of Gar puts out there.
Yeah. So because there's going to be some nodes that are going to just kind of disappear and not really participate because there's nothing going on there. There's going to be freeholds popping up in more places, I think. So
it's
if
more
anything,
than 10K.
A lot more space for freeholds.
Yeah, Overthrows is more than 10K for freeholds. So it's the concurrent player level. Most people probably opt for apartments, probably.
Yeah, because it's right there in the city. It's less work, and a lot of people are going to say,
Yeah.
I think 15K, wasn't it? Or was it 50?
You know what? I'm gonna have to go check out the wiki. Speaking of the wiki,
Yeah, check the wiki.
Speaking of wiki, 15k at launch, scaling to much higher, 50k max.
Yeah,
okay.
so I think, honestly, if they're going to scale up like that much...
Plus, being able to place your freehold in the Underrealm, wouldn't that be just cool? Putting your freehold in the Underrealm. And, like, okay, but, like, if the Underrealm is down here, but the land above the Underrealm is flat, potentially have a freehold above a freehold.
I like it. I want to make a well from the top one down to the bottom. It's going to become an outhouse as soon as I reach through all the way to the Underrealm.
No. 100k server type. Oh gosh, those are pre-map size change numbers, so I expect changes there too. Lots of changes. Yeah, there's no basements in your freehold. Better hope no tornadoes. Oh my gosh. But yeah, I mean, it's just, I'm sure there's gonna be more changes as we go through, because I mean, they've gone this far and changed the map. So I think as soon as we're able to actually put down freeholds and not be teased with putting down a freehold, like APOC, then I think we'll be able to actually begin seeing how much room there actually is with the freeholds. And I imagine they're going to probably do a lot like what they did with the flying mounts and things like that, where they'll give us in the testing at least, the cheap ability to put down a freehold and everything, just to get those systems tested out and seeing how many people are, you know, actually able to put down, and what's too much, and if they need more land mass or not, etc. But yeah, Alpha 2 is kind of actually forcing them to make the game, so I expect many changes. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Alpha 2 is the last phase before we get into betas, and the last phase that they have to get these fundamentals down. So I'm expecting by beta 1, we'll have everything base game, like very, very core base game fixed and ironed out, with potentials of like, whoops, we kind of realized, and then adjustments in beta 1 potentially. But yeah.
Yeah, beta 2 I think is going to be very much with the way that they're approaching everything right now. I expect beta 2 to be very much a, oh god, it's all ready to go. Now we're just waiting for the countdown, and they're just going through fixing the super minor stuff and optimizing everything as much as they can.
Yeah.
No more prototyping. Time to glue the pieces together, Intrepid. Oh god, it's an abomination.
Soren Zington says, during those weather events, the area of effect that the event is occurring in will likely have thanks bot will likely have its climate descriptor overridden by whatever the event is specifically. So tornadoes might be windy, blizzards might be cold, etc. from the wiki. That's really cool, actually.
My lord. So I think the next song that Jalan needs to get made is that cover right there.
It's the Alpha Countdown.
Na, 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 na.
I like it.
It's the next one. Needs to happen. Peer pressure him, everybody.
So, what about...
I don't know.
Tobias. We keep getting asked this question.
Yeah, I think there are going to be, I think major problems are absolutely unavoidable with the Alpha 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm seeing easily a year, maybe a year and a half in Alpha 2.
Overthrow thinks 3 years from A2 launch. It's really hard to say.
That wouldn't be too far off, like, from kind of what I'm guessing. A year and a half, kind of year at minimum in Alpha 2. Year and a half maybe.
To launch.
And then another, I'm thinking like another year for the beta 1 and 2. Probably, maybe a little over that.
1 year in Alpha, potentially. I mean, Yeah, if no, see, I'm with Nair. If no problems, faster than 3 years, because a lot of this will like get settled down, right? Izzy, happy Friday! Thank you.
Happy Friday, and thank you, Izzy. Thanks for popping in. Thanks for the
15 months. Oh my gosh, goodness. Starting that 2 years. Because if you think about it, you think Ashes of Creation by 50, Ashes of Creation 2 will be awesome. What? But like, so Alpha 1 is gonna be kind of like current, right? Just gonna be up and going, unless they need to take it down for any major repairs or major updates, etc. And then from there, I do imagine about a year or so, depending for both betas, because beta is gonna go stable until launch. But yeah, I could say about a year and a half to 2 years, potentially 3 years if it takes longer than necessary. But ideally, A2 will iron out a lot of the bugs that they need to get ironed out, and beta 1 and 2 are just free sailing from there, just adding in all the things that need to be added in on top of that. All of the base stable stuff is there holding up the other things. And I mean, I think there's obviously going to be issues when you start adding stuff on top of the base, you know, like how the crafting ended up not working very well during A1, or the bows, and they had to fix the bows during APOC. So like, as you add things on, you have to watch for things that break from below it. And why did it break? What caused it to break? Is there something that we ran out of? Did we run into a network issue? Did we run into a server issue, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? So I think it's like that picture of like piling rocks where you're like just try to keep the base as sturdy as possible, so as you go higher and you add more stuff, it stays sturdy. You know, things like that. I think that's like what they have to work on, is building a good foundation. Make sure that the rest of it is going smoothly from there.
Yeah, and also Nara, the betas are going to be short. I don't think they're going to be weeks short, though. I really doubt that. I have a feeling that 6 to 8 months will probably be the minimum for the betas.
I mean, beta 2 is supposed to go up until launch, right? So that alone means it wouldn't be a week.
Well, yeah. Well, the alpha 2 is supposed to be persistent going forward.
Yeah.
Like, that might become the beta, and then etc. But you see, once they get everything all feature complete in the alphas, right? Alpha 2 is going to, quote unquote, come to an end, if it's persistent, when they kick out beta 1. But then beta 1 is all about the polishing of everything and optimization of everything. And you know that when they start to optimize, they're probably going to bump into something that they need to go back and recode, something else they need to go back and readjust, something else they need to go back and change. They might be adding content still, because alpha is going to be feature complete. Yeah, that makes sense. Maybe not content complete.
Right, because they're trying to save a lot of that for live with the lore and the storylines and stuff like that.
Yeah, so if anything, then it's going to be just a matter of nomenclature. Like, it could technically be in a beta state, a beta testing state, but they're still calling it Alpha 2 because they're not ready to say it's beta yet. Just for reasons of it's not a beta yet, quote unquote. Yeah. And they haven't officially launched beta 1 because they're still doing some stuff that, you know, whatever, but the features, because of the definition that features are complete. Oh, yeah, I'll check that out then.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, that's something I didn't see or don't recall.
Okay, this is from the October 31st, 2018 live stream.
Oh, from 2018. Yeah, there was a lot of stuff said in 2018 that has been completely turned on its head.
But yeah, but I mean, Nair does, you know, confirm like that may change. But I mean, that's a good thing to ask maybe Steven now that we're closer. Tac. Overthrow, that is fair. It is true until it has been unsays it. Until Steven has unsaid it. Back then, they still believed in the 2020 release. Yeah, I mean, honestly, but that was also before Steven realized that the servers were an issue that had to be fixed, you know?
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff that came to light after that. But
if beta,
yeah, to be
beta,
honest, like I think it's we got to look at one definition or the other, because if it's going to be if alpha is going to be feature complete before they go into beta, they're going to be taking a long while to be feature complete. And then at that point, if they go into beta, if they're still adding any features, technically they're still in alpha. But if they just say it's a beta, then we're in the beta phase, even if they are still adding features. But at the same point, if we're in alpha still and they are done adding features, but they don't say, hey, we're in beta now, then technically the, alpha is going to be, you're going to be feature complete by the time we leave alpha. They could have already said it's in beta at that point. But I think they're going to be taking their time after they get all the features in and it feels solid. They're probably going to be taking some time to plan for launch.
I don't recall exactly what they laid out before. I mean, obviously the dates, throw the dates out, but excuse me, they had a rough estimate on like what like time periods and stuff they had, and like the main goals for each session. But Tobias says, if beta is going into launch, do you guys think that it'll be fun, like an actual game worth playing and coming, or should I wait? Honestly, I had so much fun in Alpha 1 testing. And I'm very much looking forward to Alpha 2. Part of the fun is being there and being a part of the chaos that is testing. If you are interested in Ashes and there's a package that you like, that you think would be worth it, I say why not. But it's kind of up to you and what you can afford in your budget. I've had fun every time I've tested it, except for Windmill Boss. But yeah, no, I mean, honestly, Disappearing Binding Dusk, yeah. I think, yeah, and there, to my point, the beta might be fun and a good way to test or get a feel for the game before it launches, because they're not going to be like New World and changing things after it's launched. They're trying to get everything set beforehand and then polished and then released. So like there shouldn't be major changes after Alpha 2, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, regardless, either way, however they're going to name the different phases, I see it being 2.5 years from now. Like, yeah, I see it being about at least 2 years, if not 2.5.
Yeah, absolutely. I could see that. Now, a similar topic is about adding a fail state for the server.
Oh.
And the idea that the players could actually lose, because Steven's always been like, yes, make it challenging. Without challenge and risk, there's no reward. What do you think about that?
Some tech, the return of the Disappearing Binding Desk. Oh my lord. Yeah. Took me a moment to remember what that was all about. But yeah, yeah. Hopefully it's not the return of the Windmill Boss.
So, for example, no, thank you for the Windmill Boss. For example, NPC monsters have intelligence and scale their fortifications and tactics to always be slightly ahead of players. They may eventually take back everything if not kept in check. Yeah,
see, oof. That's one of those that's going to be so incredibly difficult to even think of. Because
you guys are ruthless.
Let us fail without the risk. There is no fun. Ashes are hardcore.
If I would love to hear of other servers losing because they're not hardcore enough. Wicca, thank you for the
Sloth,
raid.
thank you.
Oh my gosh, welcome in, raiders. Oh, I love it. It's comfy. Well, I guess we won't need these. We won't have to hide behind the tables because there's no weapons coming at us, but instead cuddles.
Yeah, no weapons coming in.
Welcome in, raiders.
Cuddles. You can't fight off sloth snuggles.
Hello everyone, Wicca, how are you? I gotta add the shout out thing. I'm so sorry, I haven't been able to do that yet. But how have you been? How are you doing? You were playing Final Fantasy XIV Online, a game that is near and dear to my heart.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, only love. Raid with love. Check out Wikisloth if you guys haven't. Long-term friend of ours. Been around as long as TGFTavern has been around. And welcome in. For those of you that don't know, hi, I'm Chibi. And this is Vertec. We run a tavern-themed podcast built around the community topics and content creators. So, yeah. No worries at all. Just happy to catch a show. Aw, been grinding Final Fantasy XIV for a week now. Nice. Are you doing the new, expansion stuff? So cute. Hackett then use it as a shield. Oh no, Sir Unsington.
I'm gonna throw out an admission that I clicked on the link and realized that for some reason I was not following yet, so I'm following now, Wicca. Would give?
Let me check to see if TGFTavern's following, because I would like to make sure that does a thing. And there you go. Now you got 2 follows.
Forgive.
Yes. Progressing Endwalker. Oh, I cannot wait. You let me know. Shh, don't tell Vertec. Vertec, cover your ears. I finished Endwalker. Vertec has not. So I'd love to hear your response on your thoughts and everything. But yeah. I'm trying to do the thing where I cover your ears, but I realized I'm stuck in my own box, so I can't really do anything.
Yeah, I would have to pull these out. Bloop.
Yeah. Elpis, nice.
Yeah, I got to the point of starting Endwalker.
It's okay. Now he has overhealed or over-leveled heals to protect him now when he goes through it. When we get back to it.
Overheal the tank running through everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I agree. All right. So right now we are actually talking about Ashes of Creation and from Sapiverenus. I'm sorry if I ruined your name. From the forums, talking about adding a fail state to servers and allowing players to lose. So if a monster has an intelligence and are able to scale their fortifications and tactics, they can always be slightly ahead of players and may eventually take back everything that the players have taken if not kept in check. So yeah, I don't think I shared that link though, so let me grab that. But what are your thoughts?
I think that's going to be one of those things or that would be one of those things where it would kind of compete with all the other goals of the node system. And only because of that would it maybe be not as exciting as it sounds. Because there is already kind of something like that anyway with the events that spawn based on which nodes are doing what, right? If you overdevelop a mountain and a dragon comes out of it and tries to eat your town, that's kind of the same thing as a slight fail condition. You lose access to some of your resources. It's just not as hardcore as the mobs will come and swarm your town and delete everybody there.
Yeah.
Not quite that hardcore.
I kind of like the idea though, because it shows as players, for one, it shows scalability on the NPC side. And for 2, it shows that they're the world is that much more reactive, right? It could even be something like perhaps you killed a owlbear and the owlbear's mom, who looks very similar to the owlbear that you killed a little while ago, has learned your tactics and has gotten better, perhaps, something like that.
I think some variations that might be really cool as far as fail states would be something along the lines of if the beginning of the next expansion, so to say, is supposed to be something pretty intense. And not just hey, we discovered a new island, let's go explore that, but something really intense were to happen, then say the 6 months leading up to it could, if people don't keep on top of it and go against say the last raid that was released or aren't active enough, then yeah, there could be swarms of whatever coming in to overrun the entire land, and you could end up going into the next expansion with only one metropolis standing if you don't defend the entire map.
Yeah,
that I could see
that
being something pretty darn spiffy, because then everybody needs to rebuild as this new Cataclysm-like thing. Yeah, exactly, like Cataclysm.
Rasputin, welcome in, by the way. Yeah.
Or alternatively, like the 6 months leading up to the last raid of an expansion could have something similar, where, you know, the big baddie is trying to bring forth everything that they possibly can to destroy the everything.
Do we not have music playing? I'm sorry.
Oh, it did come to a stop. I don't know why.
Okay. I was like, I was looking at the stream and I was like, the song and the artist isn't there. I also realized that we don't have the last event happening anywhere. So I had seen Rasputin had followed. Thank you, Rasputin, for the follow, by the way. But I was like, where did the music go? It looks empty.
Yeah, the event thing. I need to get that in there.
But yeah, those are really good points. I mean, I would be terrified if right before the next expansion I had to defend against like, the whole map. Wow. Yeah, I mean, but that would promote travel, that would promote reason to explore and go to other places, to always be on the move, you know?
And then of course Nera comes in hardcore mode.
The last node falls. All characters on the server are perma-killed. RIP. Yeah, Nera was saying, I think they should be able to delete a node if people just completely ignore them. Tierson says, if a fail state allows players to just progress past the failure, it's not much of a failure. It'd be more of an annoyance. That's a good point. Nera says, like a cataclysm. Tierson says, server shutdown cataclysm would have to be a fail state. Last standing, kind of like. Yeah, I can see that, Bree. If the last node falls, all characters on the server are perma-killed. They all flee back through the divine gates. Oh no. Back to Sanctus. Nice. Like, it's too much. We gotta, I mean, then like you have to go through and you know, restart the whole server. That would be a server restart, technically.
I'm down for an annoyance state then, instead of a fail state.
Yeah.
Something where it's I don't know. I could see it I could see it still being called a fail state, but you know,
all the mages would have to learn to code.
Oh damn.
I love it. Oh my gosh. Fantastic. Yeah, fantastic. I don't know. I'm definitely there for like a challenge from an NPC. Like the NPC gets smarter, the NPC evolves. I'm there for that. I don't know about like a complete death of a server or the world.
Yeah. Well, I think would it be neat, and kind of where I was going with like up to the release of the last raid, is that the fail state would end up being if you don't succeed in fending off all these hordes and all this escalating danger, and whatever the bad thing is that happens at the end, then you don't get to unlock the more hardcore raid.
Ooh.
You just don't get the extra hard version or the bonus boss or whatever the case is. You just don't. Sorry, your server failed. Like, that's it. Crazy. You don't get the super hardcore thing. Which, of course, that's still another thing that makes me hesitant to even want to go with the true fail condition at all. And I'm sorry for the background noise. Left the windows open. Probably shouldn't have.
Oh, I don't really hear it personally. Oh, yeah, you hear it definitely on stream. Vroom, vroom. Motor go-go.
Yeah.
So one thing I've learned before I go into other things is don't give Wizzy any sort of bombs or fire or anything. Just don't do it unless you want chaos. And no, that's a motorcycle. If it's a dog, it drives.
It's a dog, it drives. Yeah. Good doggy.
Says, okay, so server wipe is too much, obviously, but as was said, if the fail state is a minor annoyance, don't even bother, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean,
well, I'm okay for a major annoyance. Maybe not an actual true fail state.
Yeah.
Just because I think that kind of undermines a lot of the spirit of the node system and whatnot.
Yeah.
Chaos reigns. Give Wizzy all the fire and wood chips and popcorn. I like it. I like it. Hello, by the way, wood chip.
Hello, wood chip. Sorry, I just got something, so I'm trying to take a screenshot.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, sorry. I got a little distracted, but I realized that they're on different time.
What would be cool is if corruption got out of control and corrupted a node, making it a corrupted wilderness for a short time period and locking out that content. Yeah, I remember Steven had said something about the corruption fighting back and starting to spread into areas if you didn't pay attention.
Yeah.
I don't know what that's going to cause if it spreads, or if it's just a visual thing, or if it has maybe impact on some of the raids nearby or what, but kind of like the sound of it.
Yeah, I could see that. That was on a live stream? Okay. Looking like a true gatherer. Would be cool to score. Yeah, that would, like, can you imagine corruption corrupting like a druid's domain of sorts, and you know, spreading a little bit and then having to fight the corruption. That'd be kind of cool. I mean, corruption's ever present throughout the world, so there's that already. I think most people localize failure. One node fails, another's opportunity. I like that, actually.
Yeah, that one I like. You see,
also,
I think maybe there's a definition of fail state that maybe we're not agreeing on, because if a fail state can be very interesting gameplay, then it's not something that you are unable to recover from. But I think, was it you that said that you should not be able to recover from a fail state? Who was it that said that? I forget. Because I think if you fail at something bad should happen, is basically it. Like, there is a chance that you can fail at something and not succeed, and if you don't succeed at something gets taken away, or you don't achieve something good.
Yeah.
Corruption causes your abilities to change slightly darker with nasty boons at too great a cost. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's easy in a tabletop game, or even a regular... I'm gonna get up here in a minute and close these windows.
Yeah.
But
someone's enjoying the weather too much.
They are.
That's how you saw Stephen on an idea reference. You can fail and not succeed and not be able to recover to what was. However, that can open up a new path, a new door. Yeah. I could see that potentially. Sorry, I'm giving some feedback, but I'm trying to at least give like a little bit of feedback. Like, hey, I'll get it later.
You worry about the feedback, and I'll keep conversation going. How about that?
Okay.
All right. Let's see. Yeah, the thing I was talking about was death penalties. That could totally be a. Let's see, let me get this thing pulled up here. That could totally be considered socialized healthcare. So this video, Richie SH just put out, and it's talking about the pros and cons of death penalties. And for those who are maybe not familiar, who've just kind of picked up Chicken Out Ashes, when you die, there are things that happen, like going to some kind of experienced debt, they're calling it. You don't necessarily lose levels from it, but you will lose the experience that you've gained in your current level. So you'll have to re-earn it before you can level up again. When you're at max level, that may not be a big deal, but you also, with corruption and whatnot, you lose more of that, and you also have things like power loss, stat loss, loss of drops, loss of gold gained, and such like that from kills, enemy kills. And what I was thinking, because I brought this up a long time ago, and Richie brought it up too, and that was when you're going into a raid or a dungeon or some really difficult content, right? You're going to end up dying a lot because you want to try something that's difficult. You want to try something that's challenging. That's the goal of an RPG, right? You're supposed to challenge yourself and grow and overcome things. Well, if you end up going up against a raid boss that ends up just kicking you in the teeth and you got to keep trying new stuff, how much is that going to dissuade people from actually participating in raids and dungeons, especially those of the more relaxed mindset? They're going to die once or twice and then just walk away and probably not come back for a couple weeks while they regain their experience back. And I think that there should be some system in the game. What's that?
I said I could see that. I'm not a fan of like XP debt in general, but it's one of those things like I'm willing to take the negative, if you will, with the good, because there's so much good that Ashes has that I'm willing to try out XP debt, though I'm just not generally a fan of it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm willing to give it a go and we'll see what happens. But I think it should not be a huge thing.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be truly punishing.
Yeah, if it's overly punishing, that's enough to make a lot of the player base, in my opinion, leave. Because then you're being punished. Like, dying in the first place is kind of punishing. Dying plus XP debt, depending on how much XP debt, is either additionally punishing, so like obviously try not to die kind of thing, like don't get like wasteful with being like not paying attention to your health, like, so it's making you keep that in mind. But then overly punishing for that makes it more frustrating, because if you're constantly dying because something is actually hard, or maybe say multiple people are ganging up on you, etc., like that is something that you can't really control, and you're being punished for something that you can't really control in that instance. Or like me, who racked up easily 5 levels of XP debt in Alpha 1 by drinking the poison without knowing that I drank poison.
Well, they had that jacked up definitely too high. And they at least admitted that one. Yeah. But the big concern is that going into group PvE areas where you can earn experience debt, which does, by the way, it drops skill and stat dampening, lowers health and mana, lowers your gear proficiency, reduction in drop rates from monsters, and then durability loss when you die too. So there's that as well on top of everything. So if you go into a raid and you die like 5 times, which is nothing, like you're just starting the raid at that point, right? For anybody who's especially gone with progression raiding, you're just starting if you've only died 5 times. Like that's the first half of the night, easy. But if you end up losing power and skill effectiveness and health and mana and gear proficiency, you're going to, 1, not be able to fight as effectively against the raid boss, and 2, if the raid boss actually does die, you're going to have reduced drop rates. Is it even going to drop anything worthwhile after 3-4 hours of raiding and you dying 10 times? Is anything worthwhile even likely to drop? Yeah.
It's hard to say.
213% CP debt. And yeah, like what Chip said, like if you're in a raid and you missed the raid boss by a 2-second rage timer, you have no chance on the second try because you're all going to be weaker.
Right. And I think part of it is to encourage group play. Because if you're playing in a group, you're less likely to die often, because then you have more people to soak damage and watch out for each other, etc. But I guess it's going to be like one of those things that's like hard to kind of balance, because on the one hand, you want people to be able to play without having to have everybody else around them. On the other hand, you're going to want people to feel like having other people around is going to be important. So like it's an interesting balance, and I can't wait to see how it actually comes through.
So, you want to hear my idea that I thought would be pretty neat?
Yeah. Also, I want to say welcome in, Saras.
Oh yes, welcome. But yeah, so the idea that I had that kind of ties in magically with whoever it was that first said socialized healthcare in Ashes would be to encourage people to participate in other systems where you could gain some kind of a blessing that would protect you from experience debt when you die. So things like the religion system. If you take part in the religion system after you get it up to a certain point, you can get blessings that specifically against creatures that are above a certain level. Like in World of Warcraft, they'd be indicated by a skull. Like if you fight these, you're going to die. Probably in 2 hits. Or something like that, because you were level 80, but they were considered level 90 or level 100 or something.
Yeah.
And you get a blessing, say, once per day for a certain amount of money, where you don't lose experience debt.
Mm-hmm.
Or you don't gain experience debt to those types of monsters specifically. So you'd have to, 1, take part in the religion system. You'd have to get it up to a certain point, which is going to take some interaction, some effort, and some time. And then 2, it's another gold sink. You gotta donate gold to the religion system and get that buff.
Mm-hmm. I could see it. I mean, that would definitely incorporate the systems a little bit more. Like, I could see a religious system with, like, one of the gods being more like health or less XP, that, or more damage kind of thing. Like the god of war or something being more damage. Well, XP alone. Yeah. Not a fan of the XP debt system, especially not for PvE content like raids. Only the most hardcore players would want to play in that kind of system. And so yeah, it's a bit how we're feeling, but we're willing to give it a shot and see how it feels. Overthrow says, I might wipe 25 times.
Never.
Overthrow says, I might wipe 25 times in a night in WoW raiding, so wiping is no big deal at all. I think in Ashes, wiping will be more impactful, and the fights will have more excitement as a result of that. What is there? The solution is to add a cash shop right over there. Oh, yeah. No, I get out of here.
That's troll phase.
Out of here.
But yeah, I think this is a very, very complex conversation to have. Because for one, yeah, it sounds like Steven is gung-ho about putting in the experience debt system one way or the other, which I'm not a big fan of experience debt systems, but I'm kind of just trying to take it in stride and see how it plays out in the alpha 2. And maybe hold some complaints until I see them fine-tune it a little bit more. Mm-hmm. But I've already at least voiced the opinion that I don't like it existing. But, we'll see. But I don't see how it would necessarily be a toxic thing to give you a way to earn it in-game, a way to earn your way out of it.
Yeah.
But the easy mode button on that would be any enemy that has of skull level or whatever the equivalent in Ashes is going to be, doesn't give you experience debt.
Yeah.
That would be the easy solution. That way, if you die in trash, you're getting experience debt. If you die on a raid boss, you don't get experience debt.
Yeah. Asaya, take what you experienced at A1 and politely throw it out the window, because even Steven was like, yeah, that was way too much XP debt. Because I died to poison, I think, 2 times, because the first time I didn't connect my death with the poison. I connected it with somebody else killing me potentially. So when I tried it again, I was like, okay, now that I'm alive, let me go try this again. And I died just from those 2 times. I died enough to have to go make a different character get to level 5 faster than getting through all that XP debt. So yeah, it won't be that much. Yeah, I gave up. I went and made a different character.
Yeah. It was much quicker to do that.
Either way, never. It was way too much, and Steven even acknowledged it, being like, "Yeah, no, that was accidentally too much." But you know, it is what it is.
What are you gonna do?
But yeah, okay, cool. I sent my feedback. Sorry about that. If you're curious, you can check your DM. But yeah, I'm excited though, seeing what goes. Suck it up, casuals. You know what, Sir Rensington? You're not getting any of my potions. No potions for you. I will. No potions and no food buffs from me, at least.
But yeah, I know.
You're just not hardcore enough.
No, not at all. Not at all. Yeah, when it comes to actual progression rating, like cutting edge progression, then your goal sometimes is to die a lot. Like that is your goal, because you need to figure out what that debuff does exactly. Time it out. Take a video of it. Count down to the seconds. Count down to the half seconds. Go stand in that stuff. Okay, now go stand in that stuff and then get the debuff. Oh, get the debuff and then stand in the stuff.
Yeah. Oh,
like, see how many cleaves you can take. All that stuff. Just die a lot. That's your job for the next 2 hours, is to die as often as you can. Just stand in the bad stuff. Breath weapon, eat it.
Eat it. Drop combat log in Excel. We don't have ashes though. No progression rating like that. Yeah, that's the. I'm gonna be a little sad. I have to say, I'm gonna be a little bit sad because I like the progression rate. I like being able to push and learn and push and learn and push and learn. And honestly, I'm sure there's gonna be a bit of that with the open world stuff. I'm a little sad that there's gonna be a lot of open world raid content, dungeon content, and not instanced, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I don't know.
Yeah, there's 100% going to be progression rating in Ashes, just not in the same sense that everybody's used to.
Yeah.
Steven's been saying that there's going to be certain triggers that cause bosses to get more difficult, right? So now you got to figure out what that trigger is. It's not always going to be the fastest kills. He's already said that. So if it's not the fastest kills, that's part of your progression rating. How do we unlock the more difficult challenges up ahead? That's your goal.
I'm so glad Chad is talking about defeating open world bosses. Because that kind of takes us to the next section of official Ashes news content about Cyclops roaming the world. And how many people at what level do you think it would take to take him down? Because I mean, honestly, that will be your progression rating a little bit, open world boss, but also your first taste of, do I fight the people next to me trying to kill the boss, or do I fight the boss and focus on trying to keep myself alive, you know, kind of thing.
Well, if there's a tagging system for loot, it's going to go to whoever's the winner. So someone's going to try and take out the other party if they're not working together ahead of time.
Overthrow says, yeah, the PvP will make it work. You don't need mythic rating when you have humans hunting you. Absolutely.
True story.
Open world PvP is the new mythic rating. But yeah, no, I mean, honestly, it's gonna be a thing. It's gonna be a thing. But yeah, I don't know. So I believe they said first tag gives you a 30% head start. Seems fair. Has that been said somewhere? There is no background music. Wait, is the music not coming through?
Yeah, you're not hearing it?
Oh, it's not. It's not. It shows what's playing because I have it muted. I'm so sorry. We have it muted. I just assumed because the song was there, it was actually coming through.
No, it's not supposed to be muted. It's supposed to be coming through right now.
Yeah. I have it all the way up and I don't hear anything. Oh, that's just your opinion. Yeah. Technical errors are fun. Absolutely, Tierson.
What if I turn this all the way up? Can you hear it now?
No. I don't hear anything. You might have to like remove it and add it again potentially, because sometimes OBS is like a jerk like that. Steven has talked about weighted tagging and getting DPS credit a bunch of times, but I don't know if it's currently implemented. Yeah, that's going to be a thing that we're also going to have to see, is how does that work in terms of the tagging system. I'll just pretend that I'm hearing music by playing my own. Oh, well, you know, we want ours to work too, so.
Yeah, went through a lot of pains to make it work.
Yep. Open world PvP reading is what will make this a niche game. Yeah, this is the song of my people. You mentioned the 40-60% thing a few times. Yeah, I'm interested in seeing what that is. I mean, I think whoever participates in the fight should be able to get some loot of some sort. I think that is at least fair. But like what loot specifically, I think should depend on how much damage you do to it. If you've only hit it once and that was the only tag that you've done, and other people have done way more damage to it, I think that should speak for something. In my opinion, just from people hitting like a boss of some sort in games before. Asaya, welcome to the tavern. Basically like other games where somebody has hit or tagged an enemy before, and then when I killed it, it went to them completely. Like, I feel like if you tag it or not, it should depend on how much damage you've done to it, in my opinion. I don't know. It's a hard thing to balance, I think, at least from my perspective. I'm not a game developer, so no problem. Oh, that's a cute little comfy emote. That's adorable. I love it. Partition medals you can turn in for porridge. Hey, thanks for helping take down the giant Cyclops that was wandering around. We were worried that they were gonna squash our tavern. Have some porridge. Something like that. But yeah, the Black Desert is common to have truces during world bosses. I think honestly, you might end up seeing stuff like that where people end up respecting, like, look, this world boss is hard enough. But like, what if you accidentally hit somebody else though? Like the people that are tagged, or like the arc, right? You can swing through an arc with your, like, let's say mace or something, and you accidentally hit another player. Like, I don't know, is that going to be a thing? Because I want to focus on being able to hit the boss and not another player on accident if I can avoid it, especially with the, what was it, that video that they had where people were accidentally hitting the devs, or the devs were accidentally flagging and killing the players. Need to target for PvP. Okay. I wonder if you can declare a guild war in the field, because if you have to go back to your guild hall or something, that will limit your ability to suddenly ambush another guild on the boss. Potentially. It's been a year since I played. Yeah, that's fair. I didn't really like Black Desert Online. That was another money sink. As long as people are all green, there's no issue. Okay. The last time I saw two factions and a world boss, the two groups stood in different locations. Gotcha. Yeah, that was BDO. I was a wizard, so I would roast people and then have to watch my back. Sorry, bros. My abilities are AoE. Yeah. Interesting ideas and thoughts from other games. That fire is not friendly. Yeah. I don't know. I like the idea that you'd have to flag for it, but like for the people that always want to be flagged, like if you accidentally hit them, I guess you'd have to green. I don't know if a green hits a purple. I think purple is flagged, right? If a green hits a purple, then does that make the green purple on accident? Like, but you said you had to target them. So it's just, there's so many questions. I have so many questions. It'll all be answered by playing, I'm sure. But like, I have so many questions.
Yeah, you only get flagged if you're if you actually like target somebody, or there was a checkbox that you could turn on that would say if you hit somebody with an AoE, you'll flag. But you could turn it off so you don't accidentally do it.
I like that idea, because that was the other thing I was worried about. I'm like, if I'm doing AoE damage, I don't want to accidentally hurt somebody. There's going to be a toggle in the settings where you can specify. Okay, cool. I prefer that, absolutely. Because the last thing I want is to be trying to heal or attack like a mob or a boss or something, and then accidentally hit somebody who's flagged, and then get flagged, and then get roasted. Yeah. If most of the raid content is not going to be instance, and most of the risk could be in the open sea in persistent PvP, I would like to see a slightly more friendly environment in the 80 percentile of the raid content from day to day. Yeah, I could see that. And I do like me some PvP, but I don't want to see people leave the game. Yeah. I think... And like, this comes to wonder, or makes me wonder, what... Did you say uh-oh? Oh, I hear music.
I think I found it. There we go. Alright. Oh, restart the song of... Who said it was their people?
This is the song of my people. Music!
Yeah, Overthrow. There we go. Okay, I restarted Overthrow's people's music.
Okay, there you go. I'm Pyre! It's this one! Yeah, I'm Pyre too. High five!
Well, thank you for the first person who said that the music was non-existent, because I much appreciate that.
Yeah. It was because the bot was like, our background music is by Jalon, Paradox Gaming Network Music, or PTN Music or whatever, and they're like, there's no background music. The no's are the end game. Yeah, I think that many players will have to come to terms with the fact that raiding in Ashes isn't really the end game. Yeah. Honestly, like the thing that I was gonna say before I got distracted was like, I wonder if it's gonna be a change in times. Like, do people still want that level of hardcore gameplay, or are the general people that are wanting to play thinking that that's too hardcore? Like, that's another question, because like, look at WildStar, for instance. People said they wanted it, but at the end of the day, when they actually got in there, it was too hardcore.
Yeah.
Just in general, like... Sorry, go ahead. Yeah, I'll let you answer that one. Progression, like, I think hardcore is kind of an umbrella term that just means when we refer to it most of the time, is just very difficult to complete. You gotta commit a lot of time and effort into doing it. You gotta have a higher skill ceiling in order to pass through it, or a higher skill floor rather. Yes. Sorry. Overthrow says, do Pyre high five or headbutt bracelets?
Oh. yeah. The definition for hardcore is a little hard to really define and nail down to one thing, but
it is pretty
broad.
Like
just mean at that spectrum of things, like on the more difficult and hard to complete and more time intensive and skill intensive and
like, if you think
intensive.
about it this way, PvP, open world PvP is more hardcore than a PvE server would be. Oh hey, I saw our guest from last week on there, because we don't have any guests this week. Go check out Dunehold.
We'll keep throwing out their stuff. It's fine.
I hope they headbutt. Yeah, absolutely.
Does their website actually have the umlaut?
That's a great question. I don't know. Oops, no. I accidentally joined their Discord by clicking on it.
The website does have the umlaut.
I just copied and pasted what they gave me.
It does indeed. They were ested in 2020.
I see that didn't copy over. It's just nhold.com. Now you have to leave the Discord? No, I'm not leaving their Discord. Their Discord's too awesome.
No harm in hanging out. No. You're a dwarf now.
I am a dwarf. If you guys weren't here last week, I have to make a dwarf character during either Alpha 2 or during the character creation whenever it comes out. So Stay tuned for a TV dwarf.
Yeah. She's now required to make at least one dwarf character.
Yep. And in honor of Dunehold, it has to be Dunir, I think. Dwarf tank? No, please do not wish tank upon me. I will do anything but tank.
Remember,
I'll do anything for love, but I won't do that.
So that I can be the healer. Then I can try the healing, and you can try the tanking.
I don't want to tank. Fine, I'll do... You said anything X tank is a tank, so I will do cleric tank.
There you go. There you go.
Dunir TV? Okay, cool.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a day per character to create. Yeah. Yeah.
TV taunt save me. Ah! Yeah, no, I am such a mess when it comes to tanking. I don't know how to tank. I don't know what I'm doing. I am not a tank. You will die if I am your tank.
It'll be an adventure either way.
Oh, if I did do tank though, I felt like it'd have to be a drunken tank thing where I have to have mead while I tank for that full on Dunir thing, you know, the dwarven alcohol tanking. Yeah. For whatever reason, I just don't usually care to play non-humans in fantasy games. I just don't care for any other aesthetic. That's fair. It's whatever. Exception thing at Final Fantasy 14 Mikote got me. Cat person. So new dev discussion is on gathering and PvP since we're talking about PvP. They said artisan gatherers will be prime targets for combatant players. With that said, would you like to see alternative play loops that provide you with a way to mitigate the risk of dropping gathered materials? Yes. Yes, all the way. Yes. Absolutely. Because I already have to fight the world and other people. And people are definitely going to be like, oh, that's going to be an easy gig, especially for me because I suck at PvP. So I already have to deal with all of that. I would really rather be able to mitigate the risk of dropping gathered materials. What gameplay loops? That's a good question. I feel like that would depend.
I think working with the Thieves Guild to get an anti-thief to hang out in the trees nearby as you're gathering.
Ooh, Overthrow says, okay, so today we rioted in Discord, and Vacnar changed the wording in that post. It used to say, eliminate dropping gathering materials. I see. Yeah,
eliminate dropping gathering materials.
It was posted September 22nd. It was edited September 23rd. It was edited today. That hello all, we made the original. Yeah. Hello all, we made an edit to the original prompt to provide a simple clarification. The question isn't in any way, shape, or form introducing changes to our core pillars of gameplay, which they have for to see current plans and what we've previously stated on this topic. Check out the wiki page here on player death. Yeah. But yeah, I really do think it would depend on what the gameplay loop is. Like if someone can provide me with an example, I'd be better able to respond. But all in all, my opinion is if I can find a way to curve how much I'm dropping when I die, absolutely, I am down. Tell me what it is, please. Because I worked hard for that.
Yeah, see, I don't know what kind of loop they could really do unless...
A good question, because if it is gathering at half the rate and dropping half the rate, then that just means you're spending more time and then therefore more risk gathering. If they make corruption strong enough that then gatherers shouldn't be the prime target of combatants. Bit of a topic. That makes sense. Absolutely, that makes sense. Good points you guys are making. I don't know.
Well, I think we'll see artisan gatherers being the prime targets for combatant players.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know what you'd be able to do that would make sense outside of just reducing how much you drop. I guess maybe taking part in some other systems that earn you less materials dropped when you get deaded.
Also, what is a gameplay loop? What would be an alternative gameplay loop for that? Like, these are the things that I need to know in order to make an informed opinion based on it. Until gatherers start murdering other gatherers for their lives and spleens. I'm confused by the post itself. Yeah. They're saying basically if there was a gameplay loop, an alternative gameplay loop that could be presented, would you use that gameplay loop to mitigate the risk of dropping gathered materials as a gatherer?
It would be something along the lines of, like, the gameplay loop is something similar to what I was saying with maybe spending some time with the religion system to earn a blessing that would make it so you don't get experience debt.
I can see that,
thing
yeah.
Here, like, you need to go to the local tailor or something, and you need to supply them with stuff to be able to make a special bag that makes sure you don't drop gathered materials as much.
Okay.
But then when you die, you lose that quality of bag, or it gets damaged, and now you gotta go and get another one made to drop less materials.
Grumpy, they're not saying not be able to at all. I think that was the point. They removed eliminating any of them being dropped to a risk of dropping, like, help mitigate the risk, like you drop less instead of nothing at all kind of thing. I think that was the point. Save slots in inventory, but I think it's redundant. Add another system when corruption does the job. Yeah, corruption does do the job, but the system of the religion system has to play a role somehow. Perhaps even the node buffs or boons that you can assign each node, that could be a loop that could provide you with a way to mitigate, like, gatherers drop 5% less of their, or like 10% less, I don't know, 50% less gathered materials when dying or something like that. As, like, that could be an econ node privilege. I think I could see that being an econ node, because then you have more, you're dropping less, you're able to sell more, etc. So it's economy tied in that regard. Trying to think of ways to mitigate the job, so I can't think of one at all. Let's make a corruption not work in open ocean this month. What extra system do we need besides corruption to protect gatherers? Next month, who knows? Yeah, hard to say.
Yeah, and that's kind of where my mind was, is I don't even know what you would do.
Yeah.
And why you would do.
By the way, it's already 8:30, just putting that out there.
Hey, yeah, it is. So,
did you want to share the open development video and then quick wrap-up break and come back for the post-podcast?
we could do that. To be honest, I haven't watched that one yet.
Oh, I watched it. It's safe. You're good. My reaction to this is not to add a gameplay loop. Let's test an E2. Yeah, I mean, there's that too. The problem is that once gatherers are protected more, they effectively get special treatment. Well, that's why I was saying, what if it's not, like, that's just one lens, right? So, like, that's just one lens that we can look through, is like, this is a gather lens, right? But then if we take that off and we look at another lens, then there's another lens where perhaps you do more damage when you're, like, in raids or PvP. Like, it's a loop, not the loop, you know?
Wait, yeah, you know what I just thought of? Maybe the other loops that they're talking about are maybe other things you can do besides leaving the city walls to go out and gather in order to earn.
I can see that.
Like doing some quests in town, literally doing delivery quests, like between places without going out to an actual gathering node to pick herbs or whatever.
Yeah. Let's not let Kerberos kill each other, kill another MMO. Yeah. Identify as corrupted. Corruption system is trending down. What I'm saying is I'm keeping an open mind. I'm more than happy to test the way that this is in Alpha 2 already. But let's keep an open mind on what gameplay loops they're thinking of. And I think that's the important part. What loops, what potential loops are they thinking of to give us more information to base our feedback on? Because that, again, that is a mystery box. That can mean anything at this point, right? So without that, defined in some format, or even examples of what like loops potentially could be, we don't know. We don't know if it's special treatment for one, or if it's like like a passive skill, or like a religion thing where it can also be applied to other things, like in the midst of making dinner. But yes, I agree. Let's not let murder bots kill a game before it comes out. It would be a weird skill. What would you name it? I mean, it could be a weird skill, but it could be like where Final Fantasy XIV has skills specifically for doing crafting, right? So maybe that's a potential thing, that you have like a crafting skill that lets you buy into the points of some sort to potentially drop less when you die, essentially. You know, like, it just, there's a lot. Like, there's two very intense sides of the coin here, and you know, we're trying to make a mix match for them to fit in, and kind of like a PvP talent tree. I could imagine something like that. 5% less material on death. No ashes for you. Yeah. But that's what I'm saying over there, is I think with more feedback on like what they're thinking, I think that will help. I think that would help a lot with us getting... Sorry, I thought my dog was getting sick. With having that defined a little bit better, I think that will help us a little bit more with basing our opinions off of that, I think. Because it is quite a range, and our imaginations can go wild imagining. So perhaps if we can call for some sort of clarity on what ideas, like what some alternative plate loops that could be provided. Like, what are those? What are some potentials? Oh my gosh. Like, I feel like tuning the current system is where they should start, unless they feel like they can't implement certain things once they try to implement them in A2. Yeah, over there, I could see that as well. I think they're also just asking questions because they're hearing people who are primary gatherer, crafter people being worried about losing so much on death. And they're trying to say, okay, well, if we offered systems, would that be something that you'd be interested in?
Okay. There we go. Okay, so I got the video queued up, by the way.
Cool. I am blabbering, and I'm sure people are tired of hearing me. Oh, there you go. Reason to go rogue. But even then, you can see like the clear orb moving through the trees, and the grass is all like disoriented.
All right, here we go. I'll go ahead and get this started now.
Okay.
So you've been building the base, I guess, character model that's going to be used for the humans.
Yeah.
And people are going to, when they get into the character customization screen, when they first log into Ashes of Creation, they're going to be referencing from this point how they want their character to look.
Sure.
Right?
Sure. Yeah, they're going to basically start with this generic male,
right?
Who's in incredibly good shape, and then they're going to make decisions on what's perfect to them.
Right. So you're taking that perfect model, and then people can grow into an overweight person if they want.
Oh yeah.
A skinny, non-muscular person.
Yeah, like if they're that tank class, we want to give them the ability to turn into the tank.
Right.
Because you have to see it to believe it. Mm-hmm. So we want to be able to, people have that kind of customization. If they want to be a skinnier character, we want to let them do that.
Cool. And what type of customization functionality are people going to have when they start determining these body types? Are they going to be able to put like scars? We want them to put scars on there. We want them to be able to like change the musculature of the face, like have a longer nose.
Oh yeah, we got to give them all of that. We got to give them all that. I mean, we want them to be able to go in there, put a scar on one eye. We want to have one blue eye, one red eye. We want to let them get in and make each one of these characters exactly what they want. Right. Give them different eye types, for instance, would be something cool that we could do.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
This is the base face in progress, right? So this is, I love the fact that we're showing some of this early stuff because this is really the early days of the clay sculpt. Mm-hmm. So this is about how strong the character is. This is about the region of the world the character's from. And since this is our universal male, you really want him from everywhere. But what you're going to see is when we start getting into other races, some of the Anglo characters, African characters, Middle Eastern characters, Asian characters, the structure starts to change, right? Cheeks start to sink, eyes get smaller, eyes get longer, jaws get wider with that European male. So this is the center of our universe before we scale out. It goes back to the character customization screen, right? You're gonna see a face on the screen that's kind of like your neutral target, like you do in most games. Then you're gonna start moving sliders around and ultimately you're gonna identify that person that you're playing with. So it's about flexibility in customization as opposed to pigeonholing a character specifically with just one character type.
Right.
Yeah. That's been Paul.
That's pretty cool. I'm really excited about
Matt
this.
Broom.
I mean, the power of this system and just the ability on the design level, right, to really be able to pull from all sorts of different things and make some characters that really pop on the NPC side of things and on the story side of things. I mean, it just makes my imagination kind of go crazy because I'm not like, hey Matt, can you spend 2 months making this character for me? I can just be like, hey, these are the details I have. I can make somebody really cool looking, somebody that hasn't been seen before, and I can do that really quick.
It's just cool because it's, it's another layer of transparency, right? It's another way to get things in front of the players as fast as possible, get feedback as fast as possible. And what is more exciting?
And actually, what's funny?
And what is more? It's another.
For those that don't know, Matt Broom, who was on the project, did a lot of art for Marvel and other comics, and you can actually see in the background on here, you can definitely see his art style standing out. Like this is all him drawing this, I guarantee it. It's all Matt Broom stuff in the lettering and the little beach boxes and the character stances and everything.
Matt is the guy in front of the whiteboard. Jeffrey is the one with the back towards us, and then Steven's the one with the back towards the video.
Yeah. People have already been asking for OPT.
But yeah, some of the comments on that video, because this was posted by Theory Forge on September 5th with obviously the new edits, and somebody named Gaming Man says, edits like this makes me want them to continue doing dev diaries, which absolutely, I miss this. Yeah. So this video that you're seeing right here, this is from 2017 Woodchip, and they overlaid some video with the new character creation, but this is saying that the point of this video is talking about that this is what open development is all about. This is what it looks like. This is the discussion that they're having is only something that you would see from a company doing open development where people are able to see behind the scenes and talking about, how everything is working, etc. And I imagine they probably put this together for their own show, but wanted to post it up so that other people could use it too. Kind of like we are.
It's a nice juxtaposition of watching them talk about this in 2017 and putting this out early on. And yet here in 2022, it's finally being revealed, and it's pretty much exactly what they were talking about.
Right.
Like their discussion, and 5 years later, this is
exactly over there.
Resulting CC creator. Yeah.
I really love their interaction with the community and showing us everything. Absolutely, Asaya. And honestly, they would hold stuff back before. And I think it was also because they were worried that we didn't care about, but I mean, as I forgot who it was in here, someone proved in here, like I'm a web developer. There's a few other techies in here. We get really nerdy over that technical stuff. We love hearing about it. We love understanding it and them explaining it. It feels, even as somebody who doesn't always know what they're talking about, it feels nice having them explain it to us. It really builds a connection to the company and the people behind it. Absolutely. And as people that backed it and the people that are part of it, yeah, I'm a software engineer, so I can really, yeah, exactly. Like Steven, for a while there was like, are you sure you want me to get into the tech stuff? Like, I can, but are you sure? And we're like, yes, give it to us, essentially.
You see all of chat exploding in drools. Fantastic.
Yeah. The consistent vision of Ashes is why players and devs support the project, and that's why we riot when they start talking about changes. The devs talk about the precise vision of the project as the reason for its progress. They mention it all the time. Yeah. But again, going back to what Overthrow was saying, basically their discussion 3+ years ago before the character creator reveal is practically word for word on what the character reveal showed us. And that is exactly why this video is important, is because everybody's like, Ashes is a scam. They're not even making the game. Okay, you believe that? Do you believe that after watching this video? Can you honestly say that?
They probably
2017, back when we backed the Kickstarter, they were talking about this, and here we actually have the character creator. Here we have this being shown to us this year as they're implementing. I think UE5 did a lot for them.
I think so too. Here, let me finish up. This has like 34 seconds left.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought that was done.
The full view. Oh, no worries. I paused it so we could actually talk, and I saw the art in the background, and I had to mention that.
Yeah.
If you look at Matt Broom, he's actually doing a project. It's there was a shooter, like a suspense, scary one where you're out in space. I forget what, but this is basically the sequel to that without being the sequel to that. Like amped up in levels on everything.
Is it Kinetic?
No, Kinetic is what he was working on, and then it's changed over to Dead Space. It's basically it's working with the people who had created Dead Space, and they're doing a more stepped up version of that.
Gotcha. Yeah. No, I'm lost.
It's going to be apparently more scary and more intense, and it actually looks really good. I have it wish listed on Steam. If you guys like, I'll post you a link to it here as soon as we finish the podcast. It's called Really Dead Space.
Called Really Dead Space.
Let me finish out this 34 seconds here, and then we can move on.
A way to get things in front of the players as fast as possible, get feedback as fast as possible. Right. And what is more exciting than getting a snapshot real time of who you're going to be in the world, and it just builds anticipation to go explore the universe. It's great.
And it gives you time to think about it too.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's one important thing about Ashes of Creation is the fact that we really are spending a lot of time and effort towards making a fully in-depth character creation system.
Yeah.
And I think our players are going to really enjoy that.
It's going to be great.
All
right. UE5 was necessary, but I feel like the last year has been null. Well, Sir Huntington, with respect to what they had to go through, 2020 was pretty dull because they had to deal with the issue from 2020 or 2019. Whenever the server crash happened, they had to deal with all of that. And then last year in 2021, we had Alpha 1. And then I'm pretty sure they worked on it a little bit before they announced it. But then in December, I'm pretty sure that's when they were considering UE5. So from July to December. But unfortunately with UE4, it allowed not many people to go in at once to work on the same nodes within the game. Whereas UE5 lets multiple people work on the same stuff. If one person's logged into something and somebody else can't get to their computer or something and log out of that area so somebody else can get in. That was like really hindering people. But I think also they had a bit of that throw off with having to work from home too, from COVID and everything, and everything is just no, I didn't see that overthrow. But I'm gonna say basically like they had to move everything over from UE4 to UE5, including their tools and everything, and oh no, not at all. I understand it's dull, but respective of last year versus what 2020, 2019, what was it when we had to go like once, maybe twice the month because there was literally nothing to talk about. It was that dead across the board.
2020 and 21 were kind of rough times.
Yeah. I think it was right before Alpha 1 that we actually started doing our weekly stuff again. So like 21 to 22 is not been so bad as 2020 to 2021. That was, I think, a rougher patch. But I guess because I've gone through that. Oh yeah, absolutely. But that's what I'm saying. I think because we went through that rough patch where like all the content creators didn't really have anything to talk about really, because it was just that dead. I think with us going through that, everything else seems like, oh, it's not that bad. You know, like if you go through something really, really hard, but then everything's hard. It's all situational, I guess. You know, everything is hard, but not nearly as hard as that was, then nothing seems that bad comparatively. But it is absolutely fair to be skeptical. Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm just coming from the viewpoint of having had to drop down to 1, maybe 2 streams a month for a while there, and not having to have done that. Yeah, and not having to have done that in the last year. I think that's just my perspective that I'm coming from. I'm not trying to negate your perspective, because that's a fair point. Like, it was fairly dead. There was a while there where Vertec and I were like, oh, they didn't really talk about anything new in the live stream. Okay. Like, we've been there with you guys.
Like we're sharing more art this week.
Yeah, exactly. They could have released Alpha 1.5 in 2021. The fan base would be rabid and massive today. Yeah. Very afraid to be skeptical. Intrepid is reaching the point where they have to show real progress, because the next step is an implemented test client that will be the foundation for the rest of the game. Yeah, absolutely. I do appreciate them doing the live streams, even though some months another studio might have just skipped it because they didn't have anything big to show off. Yeah, absolutely. Like, I appreciated I'm rabid and massive to Zakio. Like, I do appreciate them at least trying to share stuff, but it was like, we're working on things and we're getting there, was the end message that I got for some of the months. But I mean,
trying.
We stuck through it, and here we are having some amazing stuff. So
we got bacon and he's got candy.
Oh gosh, I remember Bacon always showing up on the live stream with the candies. Oh.
But yeah, I think I might just about wrap up for the podcast part today.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
go ahead.
Well, I was thinking out loud, and I said syllables that weren't really going anywhere.
Oh, okay.
But I do want to go and grab some noms and some drink.
Yes. I will say, it was delivered. I have it now.
Ooh.
I don't know if you had a chance to see it, but yes, I has it.
I did. I was just trying to not take too much time of looking at it.
That's fair. Finally get that sweet stuff I wanted. Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, to wrap this up, my favorite thing to talk about today was probably there's so many good things. So talking about like the world bosses and the potential for setbacks on that. That seems very interesting to me.
Yeah, I think the death debt, or the experience debt thing. That's got to be the most interesting to me, just because there's no way it's going to stay in the most simplified manner that it is right now with the most complicated penalties. Like, it's just, you die to anything but organized PvP and you lose a lot. There's no way it's going to stay in that state, because people will walk away from the game if they're playing a game that includes some massive PvE objectives, but yet also has such a penalty for dying during them.
Right. Well, with that said, shall we take a 15-minute break and come back with some noms and some drinks?
We shall, and we have questions for everybody too.
We do.
We have questions about questions, to be exact.
You guys are gonna be not interrogated, interviewed. You guys are gonna be interviewed when we come back. And also feel free to keep the conversation going, whatever you guys want to talk about. It could be anything that we didn't bring up during the podcast, because our post-podcast Tavern Talk is literally chatting about anything. So
Huntington, I like talking about gatherers and how it's not the PKs they'll have to worry about, but other gatherers specking into murder specs.
I think we're keeping Tierson from getting their food.
Alright, well yeah, let me go ahead and get this timer set, and then I think I'm going to get different music besides just the one song playing for you, and then I will start a 10-minute timer at that point, and we'll be back.
Alrighty, see you guys soon.
Actually, I'll make it 15, sorry guys.
Yes please, because I would just like a little bit more time.
It's going to take a minute to get the food ready, I'm sure.
Yeah. One song I didn't notice, it was the same song. Embers in the Wind, I think. Yeah, it's how it was before, but I'll switch it up so you have a proper rotation here this time. Anywho, we shall return. Thank you, everybody. In case you have to go, we really appreciate your time. You cannot get it back. You spent it here, and we love you for it. See you in a bit.
Ciao.